Hey, Fight fans, we're here with Kevin Iole, respected Yahoo columnist. You know, Kevin, on August 9th, the next 2014 induction to the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame is going to take place at the Tropicana. You're going to be one of the inductees. What's that mean to you to be in that class?
It's incredible, you know, Chris. Like, I've never been a guy that thought about awards. Like, you know, we have Associated Press Sports Writers Contest. I never entered because I don't believe, you know, journalists are in this to get awards and to get recognition. I believe we're in it to cover the news and serve our readers. But you know, when Rich Murata called me and told me, it was a little different because, you know, you're talking about a Hall of Fame and people are going to remember you forever, and, you know, and just to look at who I'm going in with, George Foreman and Roberto Duran and some of the all-time greats in boxing history. And, you know, the only sad thing for me was my dad's not here where I could have given the thing to him because, you know, I know how much it would have meant, and that's what I would have done. And I wish he were still here, but I know somewhere he's looking and he's going to be very proud on that night.
Now, speaking of your dad, was he one of the ones who supported you in your boxing? Tell me about your connection with him.
Yeah, you know, my dad boxed in the Army. He was in World War II, and he fought in the Army. And he turned me into a boxing fan. And the first fight I ever saw actually was in 1965. It was right after my birthday. My birthday's in October, and I can't remember. It was either later in October, early November, but we went to see Sugar Ray Robinson fight. And as it turned out, it was his last pro fight. You know, at the time, obviously, we didn't know that. Or maybe they knew, but I didn't know. You know, I was a young kid. But my dad was a fan of two fighters big time, Rocky Marciano and Sugar Ray Robinson. And he talked a lot about Robinson, how great Robinson was. So when when Robinson was coming to Pittsburgh, he says, I want to take you to the fights to see Sugar Ray Robinson. So that was my first fight. And that was, 50 years ago almost now. So.
Wow. Now, the move to Las Vegas, your connection to this city, how did that come about?
Well, I moved to Las Vegas with my wife. My wife is a physician, and when she finished her medical residency, I was a lowly sports writer. So,
what year is this?
This was 1990. And my wife finished her medical residency, and I was a sports writer. And so we wanted to go to a place. You know, she could get a job pretty much anywhere, but I had to go where she got a job because she's going to make a lot better money than I am. So she got a job out here at the time for a company called Associated Pathologists, and so I decided to follow her out. And I actually didn't have a job, but one week into me being in Las Vegas, I got hired by the Review-Journal, and I worked at the Review-Journal for quite a long time, and then I moved over to Yahoo in 2007, which was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. Now, how have you seen the city change, the boxing change? What's it been like over these years?
You know, the biggest difference in Las Vegas, I think we still have the massive shows, you know, there's still those big, all the Mayweather fights and the Pacquiao fights, you know, not so much anymore, but, you know, all those major fights, you know, we've had. But I think the biggest difference is we don't have as many club shows, and there's not as many gyms. You know, when I got to Las Vegas, there were so many gyms in town, and, you know, you could go anywhere and walk in, and they were all filled, and guys training and everything. And I think that fed, you know, the club show culture, and it helped guys to get better. And, you know, as the city expanded and grew, the real estate became so valuable, and people that owned those gyms, you know, sold, so they turned into other things. And, you know, so no longer do we have as many gyms in town. And I think that hurts because Nevada doesn't have as many shows as it used to have. Still, we have a lot of big ones, but I think those grassroots shows where the local fan can pay, you know, an affordable price, go in, have a good night of boxing, and the kids got a chance to learn how to fight and potentially become stars. We miss that right now.
Yeah, you know, if you had to guess all the club shows, the big shows, how many boxing events you think you've been to in Vegas?
Oh, you know, thousands, you know, because I covered boxing even before I moved here. But, you know, certainly I covered a lot of them, and I used to cover, you know, for more than one show a week for a long period of time, you know, many fight cards, and, you know, so it was really a busy time, you know, back in the day. And, you know, now I still do it. Now I mix in UFC, so it's like I have fights, you know, virtually every weekend that I have to write about, cover, and, you know, they're happening all around the world. And, you know, I kind of feel blessed, you know, it's like I think of all the places that I've covered boxing, virtually every continent, you know, a great number of countries. It's just been amazing.
Last question I was going to ask, looking back at some of the most memorable, captivating events that just really electrified you, what are some most memorable Vegas shows you've been to?
You know, there's just been so many great ones. I mean, I guess if I had to just pick one, it would be Diego Corrales against Jose Luis Castillo. I mean, what a spectacular fight that was. It was just one of the greatest fights. And I remember before the fight, when the fight was first made, and I interviewed Diego Corrales, and it was at another fight. I don't remember what fight it was, but Diego was at a fight, as he often was. And I was sitting with him doing an interview, and he said, "I will walk through the fires of hell to win this fight." And that's really what he did. You know, it was just an unbelievable event. But, you know, I was there. I was at the Fan Man fight. You know, whoever expects a guy, you know, a paraglider to come flying into the ring. I was there, you know, when Tyson bit Holyfield. I was there, you know, when Holyfield and Riddick Bowe had their, you know, I covered all three fights, but especially that first fight, which was such a sensational fight. You know, so I've had the opportunity to cover so many great fighters: Oscar De La Hoya, Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and then also so many memorable events.
Gotcha, man. Great stuff, Kevin.
Thank you.